The Prince and the Pauper, Mark Twain, Принц и Нищий. Chapter 27. An Execution. When the king awoke in the morning, the women were not there. "They are saved," he said happily. "Soon I shall find you, my dear good friends, and take care of you." Suddenly some officers came and ordered the prisoners to go to the prison court. In the court the prisoners were told to stand with their backs against the wall, and they were guarded with their backs against the wall, спиной к спине. Страница 140. Guarded by officers. Two women were standing in the center of the court. The king saw that they were his good friends. "So they were not freed," said the king to himself. "And how strange it is that I, the King of England, cannot defend them against these cruel people." Then the king saw a terrible thing. A lot of firewood was put around the two women, and a man lighted it to make a fire. The women bowed their heads and covered their faces with their hands. The fire began to burn their clothes. Suddenly two young girls cried out and ran forward. They threw themselves upon the women, but the officers tore them away. The girls cried that they wanted to die with their mothers. One of them ran up to her mother again and threw herself on her mother's neck. She was torn away once more. Two or three men helped her. She could not free herself and cried, "I shall be quite alone in the world now." The two girls cried all the time and tried to get free. Suddenly other, more terrible cries were heard. These were the cries of the dying mothers. The king looked from the girls to the women, then turned away and did not look any more. He was very pale. He said, "I shall never forget what I have seen. I shall see it all the days of my life, and dream of it every night till I die." That same day several new prisoners were brought in. The king spoke to them. One of the prisoners was a poor woman who had stolen a small piece of cloth. She was sentenced to be hanged for it. Tore them away оттащили их. Other, more terrible cries were heard. Раздались еще более раздирающие душу крики. Another was a man who had killed a deer in the king's park, and he too was sentenced to be hanged. A lad found a hawk one evening that had fallen away from its owner. He took it home with him. The court sentenced him to death for stealing. There was also an old man who had written a pamphlet against the Lord Chancellor. For that his ears were cut off, and he was sentenced to stay in prison all his life. The king's eyes burnt with anger. He said, "Nobody believes in me, but it does not matter. In a month you will be free, all of you and more. I shall change the laws that bring shame on England. The world is made wrong. Kings must see what their own laws do, and they must learn mercy." Tore them away, оттащили их. Other, more terrible cries were heard. Раздались еще более раздирающие душу крики. She was sentenced to be hanged for it. Ее за это приговорили к виселице. A hawk, сокол. Памфлет, небольшое произведение, обычно политического характера, направленное против какого-нибудь лица. The world is made wrong. Свет плохо, неправильно устроен.